Hello, I am Anemone. This is DmC Devil May Cry Definitive Edition. I am joined by my host Cosmic.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is DE Cosmic, and I am a DMC series speedrunner. Hope you all are doing well today.
So, I noticed we're a little bit behind schedule. I'll go ahead and get everything set up. So, we do want a specific setup. We're going to set it to where anything beside X or square is on gun special. That helps with the glitch for skips later. Also going to turn down the audio because the game is super loud. Do we have what skin won the bid war?
It looks like Neo Dante has won.
Oh, word. The best skin.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's actually very funny because this skin right here, the Neo Dante skin, is what is actually faster than some of the other skins because for whatever reason the skins without coats in this game move faster in like I think it's the whole game, but I think it's mostly some sections where you can really notice this. I don't know why this is. I don't think anybody really knows, but they all just happen to move faster. Like that one moves faster, and then the other coatless skin moves. So we get to go optimal with the skin choice today.
True. Let me run. Alright. So before we could start the run, what we do is we skip through the opening cutscenes. We need to exit out and turn on turbo mode. Turbo mode will make the game 20% faster, and our goal is to go fast.
Hey.
Countdown will start on go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so yeah, welcome to DmC Devil May Cry. This was a game that was developed and released in 2013 by Ninja Theory. It was meant to be a reboot of the Devil May Cry series. And so you're going to be seeing a lot of, I guess, iconic imagery or very familiar settings, or very familiar names and conventions of the DmC series, but sort of retooled into what was intended to be a more westernized focused release. So we're seeing here Anemone kind of just hacking away at these enemies called the Stygians, and he's using the sword Rebellion. And Rebellion has a couple of basic attacks. There's the the standard 4-hit combo that Anemone is using, and he also has the Helmbreaker, the ground slam there. So now we're just gonna be jumping and rolling. This is kind of currently the fastest way for us to move, and Neo Dante rolls pretty darn far, so you can see. So, ooh, it rolled too fast, even, so that he skipped the whole thing, like, loading in. My goodness. And sort of what's happening here, that was really strange, yeah. So, really what's kind of happening here is Dante has been woken up to these sort of catastrophic events, and he finds himself in the world, but not the world at the same time. He's in a place called Limbo right now. So he's cut off from the other humans. That's why you don't see any other humans around. He woke up in his home there. I think it's a mobile home, and he's just greeted sort of with all these demons attacking him. So a lot of the way that these enemies will spawn in as well, it sort of depends on where the camera lands when Anemone finishes up one wave. So there's a lot of like little adjustments that you kind of have to make on the fly as well. This is the first skip of the game here too. Anemone swears that he had a dream about this skip, and that's kind of how he perfected it. So here we go.
He's not wanting to clip into the wall.
Okay, there we go. Yep, nice. Excellent. So there's just collision there, like this little part of the wall that you can just kind of jump onto, and then you just clip out of bounds, and you just end up here, and
I knew that was.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Fine. Oh, okay, cool. There's a lot of really the out of bounds traversal in this game is very strange because of the way that all the levels load in, and just how sometimes you do just kind of have to walk in the dark, so to speak. This is unfortunate because we have to skip the Ferris wheel fight, and the Ferris wheel is such a fun fight. So now we're going to activate this cutscene here, which is going to skip. We've now skipped 2 fights. And what's going to be affected by this mostly is something called a white orb count, which is what have kind of popped up earlier. And white orbs are this game's way of purchasing abilities. In DmC4, there was like Proud Souls, and there's also red orbs in both of these games. Red orbs are what we're going to be buying items with, but a lot of this stuff is sort of set, and the economy of this game is quite different from the rest of the Devil May Cry series, because you pretty much get the same economy every time through. There's not really a whole lot you can do to get anything better or anything worse. The only thing that happens is when you do less fights, you get less white orbs, so that just means that you have less tools to work with when you play through the game. Fortunately, we didn't really need a whole lot to begin with, but it was nice to have a couple of extra points here and there, just for cushion's sake.
It also made doing this strat coming up a lot easier in the no major glitches portion of the game, because we would be able to get I can't even remember the name of the move. I haven't used it in forever.
That's fair, yeah. So he just bought Hacker 2, which is just going to be an upgraded version of the basic attack combo string, and we're going to be fighting a boss called the Hunter. Now, the Hunter has 3 phases. We're only going to really see 2 of them. The first phase here, he's just going to kind of take some swipes at us. So then Anemone just sort of wants to whack at his head with Rebellion here, and then just build up a combo meter here, because I believe it's at A rank there's a damage boost, and then at S rank you get a speed boost as well. So maintaining these high style ranks is super important to having these things go correctly. You can one cycle this guy. It's really tight timing. However, you can just see, otherwise you can just have this happen, where then you just need to deflect his blade back at him. It's been a little while since you did this, huh?
True. I've always just one-cycled it. That time was really
quick. Yep. So there we go. There's the dark phase there, and reflected back at him, and there we go. And that is the end of Mission 1. So a lot just happened there. Yeah.
Mission 1 is really one of the most annoying missions, as well as this one. It's all about your clears. There's a faster cutscene that you can get when we were rolling across the bridge. Usually you only get it with Angel Glide and Trickster Evade, so you zoom across the bridge. But it allows you to skip 2 cutscenes there instead of just 1. Saves a little bit of time. It's not that important, but it is faster.
So now we have a move called Stinger. It's very much a staple of Devil May Cry speedrunning. It's just a sort of a dash forward on the ground with a sword. And in Definitive Edition, funny enough, we have a lock-on function that was added for this release of the game. It differs from the original release. But we can't even really use it in this version, because we have to remap the controls so that we're able to do a glitch later on for some out-of-bounds sections. And the lock-on button was preventing us from, doing so. So remapping some of the controller caused us to lose the lock-on again. So we kind of just have to play like we're playing the vanilla release again, which was really nice, having the lock-on there, because just being able to lock on and see the enemy's health bar as well was pretty cool. So we just received a weapon called Arbiter. It is an axe from Dante's father, Sparta, who in this game is a demon that married an angel woman, and that created Dante, who is a Nephilim. They are a marriage between angels and demons.
Oh, I almost got the Stinger boost.
Nice. So this is, I forget exactly what this mansion is here, because it's been so long since I watched the cutscenes in this game. But essentially Dante is going through this area and reliving a lot of memories from his childhood and just his past in general, including seeing, visions of his parents. And he is collecting weapons suited to them. This is also where we're introduced to the enemies called the Hell Knights. They have these shields that are rather annoying. Once we get Arbiter, it's not so much of a big deal, but before you have Arbiter, you have to fight one of them, and it's just not a fun time. This is also one of those rooms that, like Anemone said, there's a lot of adaptations that you sort of have to make in this game. So, like, a lot of what Anemone's doing is not like so much a fixed solution to a level. so much as he just kind of goes with what he's given. And there's obviously optimal ways for things to line up, like those 3 Hell Knights there could just line up for one Earthquake, you know, to just knock them all up into the air and then take them down. But that wasn't the case of what happened, so we just kind of had to roll with hitting one of them into the air and then just taking them out. Because you just need to kind of commit to taking enemies out as they come. You can't really bank on everything going perfectly, especially with how sporadic some of these guys are. So now we have something called the Angel Pool. This, I forgot to mention, this level is like long, but it tutorializes a lot of things. So we're introduced to the Demon Pool system here, or just the pool system in general. This pools objects and enemies to Dante, and that's how we were able to do some of the platforming there. It is going to be relevant later as well to some of the skips that are going to be done, as well as to some of the clears in combat sections.
Arbiter is easily one of the most useful weapons in this speedrun, if not the most useful.
Yeah, it's really up there.
There's a lot of small movement that you can do in this part of the game.
So what else
A lot of small skips as well, lining up for stingers. Sometimes you'll get your stinger clipped into a wall by random. There's a specific wall later on in this mission that does that.
What the hell happened here?
Alright, so there's the apparition of Dante's mother, Eva. And then he follows her, and we're out in... I gotta say, like, the level crumbling and level design in this game is, like, really one of the highlights of just being able to replay it, you know, and just in general, like, a first-time playthrough. Limbo is a place. Also, we can drop enemies off cliffs with the Demon Pool a lot easier. So that's what happened to those guys there. Anemone just dropped him down the pit. Environmental kill. Sensational. Oh.
I haven't been able to do that in what feels like years, man. I always have to hit it.
Game a year. Alright, so now we are in a room with a painting of Dante's mother, Eva. And once this guy dies, we're going to get another weapon called Osiris. And Osiris is a scythe. Unfortunately, in this version of the game, it's darn near useless. You're not really going to see it a lot. It's got some cool moves on it. It's got a lot of cool combo stuff. A lot of neat stuff if you're into that, but unfortunately it is not really useful for our purposes. It's not very optimal. So we're just going to keep using the upgraded Rebellion combos to take these guys out.
And this is the wall that does it, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It will
So
always
weird.
clip you unless you're before that door. Even then it'll
Okay.
sometimes clip you into it.
Get away from me!
Another unmentioned mechanic, you see me double rolling, that's not natural. Dante only gets one normal roll until we unlock a skill later on. But to get this double roll, what you want to do is right
A blue rose.
after you jump, but before you land, input the roll. Dante will roll as soon as he hits the ground, and you can roll instantly again. It's useful for the earlier parts of the game, mission 1 and 2, but after that it's obsolete.
So now we're going to get an ability called Angel Pull, or Angel Lift. So instead of enemies and objects being pulled to us, we're going to pull ourselves to enemies and objects. And this is pretty neat for some of the platforming in this area, especially because once you kind of just link it all together, it feels very smooth to do. Platforming in this game definitely is an improvement over some of the, the Devil May Cry series, where they actually have like these angel grips for you to go to, and the angel and the demon grips. And the more broken apart level design kind of lends itself to that. So we're just going to use Arbiter here on this statue. Boom, another tutorial done. And I think that's the last...
There's many dreams. I think there's like 5 total in the story.
I think so, yeah, that sounds about right. There was supposed to be 6 originally. But one of them got cut, which for a reason that I'll drop later. So that's the last sort of like tutorialization in this area. So now we just got to take out these guys. You see Anemone having to pull the enemies that are flying twice. This is because he needs to pull their shield out of their hand before they'll actually be pulled to him. And then that's going to be the end of this level. I think this is probably one of the longest levels speedrun-wise, like in the entire series, if not the longest.
Yeah, it is really long. It is the longest mission in the game. Shorter than mission 18 too, but it makes sense. We have Devil Trigger in M18.
I'm getting out.
It's super, I wouldn't say RNG heavy, because again, if you're good at adapting and handling situations well, you're not going to lose a lot of time.
That's true, yeah.
But
it is good. There's just a lot of fighting. There's a lot of fighting.
It is still a pain
very minimal tools
when enemies don't want to cooperate.
Yeah, so now you saw Anemone refund Hacker and Stinger, and so now we can refund abilities in this game in order to sort of respec for certain missions where we need different abilities, but don't necessarily need the ones that we had earlier. So he just bought Trickster Evade, Trinity Smash, and Enemy Step. So Enemy Step is going to allow us to jump off enemies. That was really quick. That was a nice skip.
Yeah, I changed it up. It used to be you Angel Pull, Enemy Step off that one into a double Demon Pull.
Okay.
And
yeah. So there was a fight there, and we would have had to go through a whole lot of, puzzle stuff and platforming, but you can actually just jump right up to that platform with the blue rose on it, which grants you this ability called Angel Boost. And Angel Boost is just a glide that, we can use to traverse the world very easily, coupled with the Trickster Evade, which gives us 2 dashes in succession. We're able to move very quickly through a lot of these levels. This is really where the movement for this game starts to feel incredibly nice, just because it's like these very rhythmic presses that you can do, just one right after the other. It's great. Feels awesome.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite part about this speedrun is the movement.
Yep, absolutely. So now that we've skipped through all that and we've done a bunch of movement stuff and knocked out that dream chain there, we're going to be tossed back into the last part of the level. And this is going to be one fight where we're going to have to take out these flying enemies, and then we're going to have to fight a couple of other guys. And this is where we introduce something called offset. So basically, if you start a combo with one weapon and then delay a bit, you'll see Dante's sword shine, or you'll see there's a little bit of haptic feedback if you're playing on controller. You can finish that combo with a different weapon. So you see Anemone starting the combo with his sword and then switching to the axe to do Trinity Smash. And Trinity Smash, very true to its name, does 3 hits in a row. After a long windup, it'll just, do tons of damage all at once. So we use the offset there because the first couple of hits of Arbiter are very slow, and having to do that whole string would not only be pretty slow, but it would also knock enemies away in the process. So the sword does not have those sort of properties. It's really quick, doesn't really knock enemies away until much later in its combo strings. So if you can use the offset there in order to bring out the axe, you can wipe out rooms very quickly. This is pretty similar to like dodge offsets in Bayonetta as well. This is also the first huge skip of the game. This is something called Infinite Climb. It's done by mashing square and X while in Angel mode, using the Angel Lift, over and over, just repeatedly. This is what we had to remap for. We had to disable a move called Gun Special. There are moves that can be done with the guns using square and X, by default anyway, that will interrupt this glitch. Because when you're in Angel mode, the game does not register an Angel mode gun special existing, so it just does nothing. So we have to disable gun special and put it on a different button. In most people's cases, like mine or Twirl's, I think Anemone does this too, is you put it on R1. And that's, normally where lock-on would be, so that's why we can't use lock-on in the speedrun anymore. However, you see an anemone just kind of climb to the top of these
He did
these walls.
grab, bro.
What the heck? Saw that.
That was so weird.
So there would be a lot of fights going on right now, but unfortunately for those enemies, we can just climb right over all of that. The APM on these skips is like it's definitely nothing to, you know,
That's bad.
shake your stick at. That's kind of bad, yeah.
Yeah, that's really bad.
The unfortunate thing about this level is that if you do mess up one of the skips, you have to do all of them over again. It is a real chore as well to, you know, repeatedly mash this thing too. Like I said, it's nothing to shake a stick at, but it's not gonna like break your hands or anything.
Learning it definitely will mess up
true.
your thumb.
That's true, yeah. Until you get the timing down and realize that you don't have to, you know, bash it as hard as you might think you do. I know that was my problem for a little while. I'm just gonna let you concentrate for a little bit, though, man. Right. Cool. And last one. There are some times too where Dante will just drop. He just cannot gain any height. Like, come on, dude. There we go. Okay. So now he's just going to pause here for a second, wait for the rest of the level to load in. And now we're on to the last part of the game. So we just skipped a lot. We skipped, I think, like 3 fights or something. And there were some long fights.
Yeah.
And,
Mission 4 skip is the biggest reason we save time over
the major glitches. Yeah. Absolutely. So now we're going to clean up these dudes right here. This is definitely, and this is when we get introduced to, at least in the speedrun context, to the Frost Knights. This is one of the only reasons that we really use, that was clean. This is one of the only reasons that we actually use Osiris still. Because this is where we get into enemies that are colored either red or blue. And you can only cause them to be put in hit stun by using a weapon of the corresponding color. So something that changed from the original release of the game to Definitive Edition is that in the original version, you couldn't damage, put enemies in hit stun or anything unless, you know, like if there was a red enemy, you had to use a demon weapon. If there was a blue enemy, you had to use an angel weapon. So in original runs of the game, you'll see Osiris a lot more because that's the only thing that you can damage the Frost Knights with at this point in the game. But in Definitive, they kind of balanced it a little bit better, so you can still do damage to enemies with any weapon, but if you want to stun them, and keep a block down, you have to use the same colored weapon.
This is probably my most hated mission, along with it being an auto-scroller and an obnoxious skip. It's just super bad.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a walk and talk section here, so if there's any donations or anything that need to be done, then now's a pretty good time.
You said you'd been here before.
No donations, but I can do a quick blurb about our event. MWMF Fest raising money for Children's Cancer Refund. To donate, go to donate.MWMFFest.com or type !donate in chat and follow the link.
Can't do it at will.
So, how did you do it before?
It was triggered by extreme psychosomatic trauma.
Alrighty, so
Nightmares.
worth mentioning that in this world, soda is evil, and it is being used to sedate the masses of humanity so that they are fine with being under demon control. This is because of the demon king Mundus that sort of has his grip on humanity. And Dante has now met his brother Virgil,
The demons may sense
who
the limbo.
is in cahoots with this woman named Kat that has been following him since, before the events of the game. And they are part of a rebel group called the Order, and they are looking to take down Mundus. So they're going to this factory to where the soda virility is made, and they're trying to find the source of the virility.
What took you so long?
And this is the first skip of the level here as well. I assume you're going to do the No Major Glitches version.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are 2 versions of this skip. The No Major Glitches version is actually faster to do. So he's just going to use Demon Pull and then Enemy Step to jump off of the enemy and then head right over the fight. So that skips that whole fight right there. It is going to cause us to have to reset a checkpoint later on so the game does not soft lock when we load in the next fight. But nothing doing.
Yeah, the reset checkpoint is literally right on fight.
Yep.
There's been a time or two where I've actually gotten away with not resetting checkpoint after doing the skip, but it is very, very unlikely.
Yeah, so there's the checkpoint reset there. And here's the Hell Knights, which are the the counterpart to the demon counterpart to the Frost Knights. We can only put them in hit stun with demon weapons. Fortunately, we love our Arbiter. So we're just gonna go ahead and use that. I also gotta say the soundtrack to this game is just chock full of bangers, and this is one of my favorites.
Yeah, same. This room, my most hated room, RNG, and just pray that they line up.
And Anemone is using a move called Drive there. It's where Dante sort of rears back and readies his sword, and then he can launch projectiles out of it. You can use a powered up version of the move called Overdrive as well to launch like 2 more projectiles, and it'll do a lot of damage. And that's what's causing them to be cleared out like, in droves. That room is also one of like the prime examples of how holding on to the bonuses that you get from S and A rank are super important to speeding things up, because that little bit of damage boost and a little bit of speed boost is going to cause you to go ever so slightly faster and make some rooms work out even better than they already do.
That room
So even
never works out. I hate that room.
So now there's a little maze here, and then we're in this area where a lot of production is happening. We're going to just drop these guys off the cliff. And then the next wave of dudes, we're going to do the same thing to. Oh, what the heck was that?
Dude, that's happened so many times.
Dude, bounced back. Okay, alright, cool.
One of you fat asses wants to be Nemo's biggest loser.
Also, these enemies, I forgot to say that the big dudes are called Tyrants. And you can only knock them over by doing a angel or a demon pull on their back, and then you can just take them out.
You win.
That's the end of mission 5.
Dante.
So now mission 6, there's going to be a little bit more ability refunding again, and this is really one of the cooler boss fights, I think, and one of the cooler movement sections. It's just a very like succinct sort of level. So I think you bought what, Aerial Rave, and then
Demon Evade level 2.
yeah, Demon Evade level 2. Okay, yeah. So this is where y'all get to really see some busted mechanics going on here, which they swore that they nerfed in this version, but I don't see it. So
Yeah, they didn't nerf it. They did.
Get out of my way.
Alright, so here's the first movement section. You see a lot of like chaining together a lot of these movement techniques is really just what helps you sail through a lot of these rooms. Understanding, when to roll, when to evade, when to pull to or when to pull an enemy to you, when to pull yourself to an enemy. It all just, flows so well together once you have it down. It's just great to watch. And this boss right here is called the Succubus. this is what powers the virility juice, or the virility soda. This is Mundus's secret ingredient. And now we got a fighter. She is quite rude. So we're going to wait for her to do an attack. And then Anemone's going to do Demon Evade. And what Demon Evade, as you're about to see, is... Oh, that was unfortunate. That was super unfortunate. So what Demon Evade does is it multiplies your damage by a lot. And so normally those sword strikes that Anemone was doing on Succubus wouldn't do even, nearly as much damage as they did. But when you evade at the right moment, you get that slowdown effect. And, it says last second dodge right there in the corner. That's when you know you've got the damage boost. And Dante's hands are also glowing red. This is an unfortunate RNG here on the Succubus, too. There she did the spit, so we got to go over here. Alright, there we go. Last second evade. Boom, boom. And then her health bar just evaporates from Trinity Smash.
The marathon log.
Yay. Always happens, man. Told you. Count on it. It'll be there. Just gotta do the cool guy walk at her. There we go. I believe.
Not a
And she's down. That was fine. That was good. Alright, so now Dante thinks he's defeated her, and he just heads on out, and surprise, she's not actually defeated. We gotta do a bunch of QT type stuff. More platforming into cutscenes. This is also like the second, I think, true boss fight of the game, which is very strange to think about, because we did a boss fight back on mission 1, and we don't actually have another fight until mission 6. Her problem, as Dante lets her know, is that she's too clingy, so we're just gonna just knock her off into that blade. You were saying something?
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to buy Judgment and Showdown here. Judgment's also a really strong Arbiter move. It evaporates opposite colored enemies, not so much for the same colored enemies. I can't remember if Cosmic said this or not, but if you damage an enemy with the opposite color weapon, it does do more damage.
I did not actually know that, so thank you.
Yeah, so there's damage multipliers out the hoo-ha in this game. And it's just doing your best to chain them together.
Yep. Also, this is the gauntlets that we have now are called Erics. They look like Hulk hands. And we get them from beating the Succubus. And so this is a skip right here, where we're going to just skip this whole fight if the game wants to cooperate.
So, I recently found out from Toro that if you do the no major glitches version of this skip and then go into the second part of mission 7 skip, you will get that weird camera angle. So I will never do no major glitches skip again.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Oh, I did a trickster evade. That's fine.
So that fight skipped there. It's going to skip a little bit of platforming here. And we're out. So Eric's is there. I don't know. The gauntlets in Devil May Cry usually are like very, very strong, but Eric's in this game is a lot more situational. We don't really use it for a ton of damage all the time. It's really just to take out some fodder here and there and to knock enemies, quickly into the pits. This is also probably one of the hardest clip outs in the game, so I will explain it in a little bit. Because this is a lot. This is one of the hardest skips. And just making it look easy. Look at you go, kid. Alright, so now we're clipped out. And then we're going to have to do another infinite climb right here.
There's also timing that I'm currently looking into. It's inverse rainstorm. It doesn't go higher than the normal jump though. So I still don't think it's worth it. But the higher you get before you start infinite climbs is always the better. Shortens the distance you gotta go.
That was a really smooth skip, by the way. Usually I thought you had to land on the platform, but you ended up right at that angel lift, and then just gripped right to it. That's beautiful. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So that skipped like the whole level. That was it, dude. And here we are at the very end, and we're fighting the sirens here. But we're gonna just use Eric's takeout. That was beautiful. That was a really clean skip, dude. Good job.
Yeah, it is the hardest skip in the game. The second portion of the skip where you saw me trying to land on the thing, even if you're a little off, Dante will miss it, and he'll fall all the way back to the bottom again, and you'll have to redo your infinite climbs, or you mess up the end portion of that skip, and then you have to redo the entire skip.
That sucks. Also, this is more out of bounds here. Everybody say hello to the demon train over on the right hand side. That's like offloaded, waiting to be activated. So now we're just on top of the level. There's a lot that just happened there. It's just really an infinite climb into out of bounds traversal. It's very nice of Ninja Theory to make these parts of the game so accessible with, just this simple technique here. Oh, that was a really early activation of that cutscene too.
Got it.
So kind of what's going on in the story right now is that Dante has encountered this demon called Phineas, and Phineas needs his eye back in order to help Dante. So Dante just grabbed it, and now we got to bring it back to him in order to sort of figure out where we're going. Because we're trying to find the next general, so to speak, in Bob's army. Not Bob's army, I'm sorry. Mundus's army. Bob is the name of the general that we're looking for.
So, something that happened there that usually almost never happens. Harpies, or I can't even remember what they're called. I call them harpies.
I'll just call them. I think they're harpies, or maybe it's sirens. I don't know.
Oh,
well,
no, sirens are the witches, I think. I can't
Oh,
remember.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, so those would be harpies. Yeah, right. And then the cat. The rages also are an enemy's like an introduction that sort of gets skipped when we do the mission 7 skip. There are these like feral cats that go into an enraged mode when one of their homies dies, because they usually fight in groups of 2 or more. So if you fight 2 of them, then if you kill one, then the other one will get enraged and will lash out at you and like do a lot of damage and be harder to hit stun, etc., etc. So there, he just made quick work of him with Trinity Smash. Now, what's funny about doing the skip for this level is that you see this wall that's in front of the Tyrant. This never despawns because we don't actually hit any of the triggers that allow it to move. So Anemone is going to have to fight this Tyrant through the wall. So he has to let him get to the wall here, and you see the hits like very barely registering. Just kind of have to use Trinity Smash, and then hope that he does enough damage eventually. So he'll die eventually. Just it'll take a second. There we go.
Well, this part of Mission 8, every time I struggle with it. Yeah, there we go. Struggling with it already.
It's a hard skip, dude. There we
Not
go.
bad.
Alright, and then we just gotta land on the other side here and activate a cutscene. And mission 8 done. He really likes submitting those scores to the leaderboard, huh?
I'm not used to it. Okay, so, if you turn off offline, you have to scroll to the bottom every time. But I've played the game online, and it makes getting to the next mission quicker, obviously. But there is something that can happen while online, and that's it takes forever to submit your score to the leaderboard. Sometimes it does it, most of the time it doesn't. And here we run into our first siren. What we want is to see in the sword. Fine though.
Boom.
Good riddance.
So if she had spawned her red sword, we would have been able to knock it back at her, and then drop her into the pit. But we just had to use Osiris there to dissipate her shield. And now we're about to grab an ability called Devil Trigger. And Devil Trigger is a power-up state that Dante can go into. It will increase his damage output, and it will send enemies flying into the air. It's something that's present across all of the Devil May Cry games.
See what happens.
If we were playing the default costume, you would see his hair turn white and his coat turn red. Since we're in Neo Dante, none of this will happen. You will just, like, see him kind of go, and just kind of exclaim some things. His eyes also turn like a deep red, and then he gets hit with the Kool-Aid beams. So yeah, there's normally like some cool transformation stuff that's happening here, but since we're in a skin, it's just not gonna happen. But we're gonna just use it to knock these dudes into the air, and we're out of there. Then there's this skip. I believe it's fastest to do the non-infinite climb version of this across both categories. You sort of just have to jump on this angel statue's head, and then jump onto his back and onto a wing in order to
On my way.
skip an entire fight that would be off to the side. So now we're at the last fight of the level. Normally we would have to do a separate fight, and... Excuse me. For a second. Ooh, boy. Normally you'd have to do another fight, and then do some platforming, and then head here, but we just skipped it all.
My mans didn't want to die. So, Devil Trigger with Ares will one-shot these harpies. Devil Trigger, big amplifier to damage, stacked on Demon Evade, your SSS ranking, your A ranking. You do some really insane damage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Alright, so mission 10. This is another boss fight level. This is where Dante now knows where he has to go and how to get to this tower that's in the middle of the area that he's in. Because all of this is sort of happening because he and Kat have been knocked underwater while they were driving in a car. And so all this is happening like in limbo while Kat is underwater. And Dante's, I guess, corporal form is also underwater. So the tower here belongs to Bob Barbas, who is the lead anchor of Raptor News Network. And Raptor News is Mundus's propaganda station. So this is where Mundus, says that Dante is a menace to society, brainwashes all the humans into believing, this fake stuff that's happening, or that, I guess Mundus's framing of it that's happening, and just another cog in the machine of his potential takeover of humanity entirely.
Just a lot of movement. The fight coming up has probably one of my favorite scenes in the game. Bob likes putting flips on things, so what Dante does is he flips them off and tells them to spin on this.
It's a neat little moment. So basically the way that this fight works is kind of similar to the Succubus. You have to hit these buttons in order to expose Bob's, face there, and then you can just take him out with Arbiter damage. And these sections right here are just kind of auto-scrollers while they talk, sort of like while they just, say falsehoods about Dante and, paint him as like a devil or a menace or whatever. And Bob just shoots his mouth off, and then Dante does some mouth shooting himself. And there's really no way for you to speed up any of these sections, so we've got some time for, any blurbs that need to be done or donations or anything.
No donations, but I'll do one last poll for our upcoming bid war here for Save or Spare Cat, which is coming up pretty soon. So if you want to choose, it's still wide open. Even $1 will decide her fate. So it's coming up very soon. And also I'd like to say each year Midwest Beat Fest partners with Video Games and Music Convention, or commonly known as VGM Con. On our next on-site event, Mid-Spring Speed Fling 2022 will take place at VGM Con in Minneapolis, Minnesota on April 1st through the 3rd. For more information, including how to register, go to vgmcon.org.
Of the unholy kind.
Very cool.
It ain't that the best kind, Bob.
Alright, so next phase here happening. And this is, so it's like, in the first phase there's one button, in the second phase there's two, and then in the third phase there's three. In Definitive Edition they actually rebalanced this fight. So in the original version, you actually could just do the entire fight without Bob ever getting to, get an attack off, because every time you would hit a button, he would get stunned. However, they changed this in Definitive Version probably because they realized, like, once you know where the buttons are, the boss doesn't get to play ever. And so, no matter what in this version of the game, he'll always just be attacking you constantly while you're hitting the buttons. This is also the area of the game where if you want to, practice your combo mans, you can. Practice your 6 skills, your jump cancels and everything. That's what I usually do. Yeah, there you go. It's got a piano from one to the other. I usually do with Osiris, just to like piano back and forth between launch.
Every camera on every street corner,
I used to just turn this mission
police
into a
force
bounty
in the
house.
country
Another thing I'm looking into is
we will find you.
I've ended up with 5
will destroy
devil
you.
stars from the red orbs I get from this mission, for mission 13.
This is Bob Barbas of the
And if I can find out
Just
exactly how many red orbs I need from there, I'm going to relab mission 13.
Oh, that's what's up. I'm back here.
So it's kind of an important mission, but not really.
This is going to be the end of the fight right here. Bob's just going to go down. And from Bob, we're going to get a weapon called the Aquila, which are these, like, sort of like glaive type melee things that we can kind of throw out and stuff. They're pretty neat. Anemone is going to grab buy-in and aerial buy-in, which we'll explain in a second here. So, buy-in is a move that allows you to pull a bunch of enemies to you in a group. So we had the single pull before, but now we've got the multi-pull. And when you combine this with Trinity Smash, well, chaos ensues. And you just get to pull enemies together, and then Trinity Smash them into Kingdom Come.
So here I'm going to deflect this butcher, double rebellion into Trinity Smash and finish him off with Judgment, and then line myself up for the skill. Make sure I switch to Aquila before.
Where are you guys?
This skip has evolved for the very much better of it. Like,
That's true, yeah.
it used to be super obnoxious. It was still easy to do, but
Yeah, for whatever reason, that room there, when you skip the fight like that, by running, just flying through that wall, You can just use that move called Big Slick, which is a launcher move with Aquila, to get to this area much easier. And now, we've just gone through so much of the level. This is a whole area with fights and just a lot of exposition because Mundus's army is invading the Order right now. And Dante is trying to save Cat.
Whoa.
That was interesting.
Wait, that hit him? What?
That was cool, I guess. Boom, boom.
I didn't even see the reflex.
Oh, the reflex happened. It was just strange. I think it reflected all of them, too. And then there's this enemy called the Dream Runner here. Really all you need to know about this guy is that we're going to go into Devil Trigger and then use Arbiter to take him out. They're super annoying if you don't just Devil Trigger every one of them. So they're this game's assassin type deal. And they have a lot of neat attacks and stuff. And unfortunately for them, we don't want to see any of that. So we're just going to Devil Trigger up.
Yes, you can. I spray.
This skip right here,
There.
this is a little bit of a strange one. So we're gonna cause this roof to collapse in on these soldiers here,
Same again.
because Dante is escorting Cat in this sort of walk and talk section. A lot of our movement options are locked out right here, and you have to jump at this wall correctly.
Real quick, was there a
Let's go.
winner for Killer Spare Cat?
Yes. Do you need that now?
Yeah.
Yep.
It looks like we did actually get some last minute donations. It does look like Spare Cat won with $2.
Usually for memes, if I'm doing a no reset, depending on my pace, you can choose to kill Cat here. It does nothing it's not going to affect the story, you just get to see a cutscene, she dies.
What are you doing? Stay hidden.
But
Leave me here.
jumping out this window, I'm pretty sure speeds up this guard entering. So we jump out that window, there's a special little audio clip that happens. Cat says, "Don't leave me."
What if they have
I've seen it actually speed up the graffiti on that thing that she's drawing on for the demon pool that we pull on top of the guard. I'm just not sure if it speeds up the guard or not.
It looked like it did. So, also, fun fact about this whole section was that one of the devs for the game, I think it might have just been for Definitive Edition specifically, they had a whole way to skip this all ready to go. Just disabling it entirely. But I think it was Capcom did not clear that, so that would have been pretty cool to have skipped it. So now we're back in Limbo. We've got full control of Dante again. So maybe it was Ninja Theory didn't clear it. I don't know. Anyway. So now we got full control of Dante again. We've got to hit this statue here after the voice lines are over in order to activate these fights quicker. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting there for a little while. And we're going to drop all these dudes into the pit with aerial buy-in. So buy-in, but the aerial version. Oh, unfortunate. Very nice.
So that demon dodge is pretty important. It sets up for a no pull here. Oh, they didn't come into the middle. But without the demon dodge, you have to pull one of them up for a double jump into stomp, and that'll kill him. It probably saves like a second.
But every second matters. So now Virgil's going to give us a new gun called the Revenant, which is this game's shotgun. And, they finally gave us... we got our guns back on Mission 1, and they finally gave us a new one on Mission 12. So that's interesting. But the shotgun does a lot of damage. Mostly it's going to be used a little bit for crowd control. It's another one of those situational things, but in general, the shotgun in this game is very strong. It's a very good weapon. And we're just going to keep pulling these dudes and pulling the Soul Calibur Classic. Just ring out. Shotgun here is also used on the Harpies, because if you use a shotgun on the Harpies, it will clip their wings, and then they can't resist falling into the pit anymore. You know, because obviously if they have wings, they just fly away. So
Let me guess. 2 minutes? It's all set to go.
You could shoot them out of the air if you want, but that'd be slower. When they have their wings, they're not susceptible to a demon pool. If you clip their wings, you can demon pool them. Sometimes they'll let you demon pull them, like earlier you saw it, but most of the time they just juke it.
Come on, Virgil!
there's Rage's both went down too.
There's a small out of bounds, doesn't really do anything, but would have been cool to show off.
Darn. Alright, so I do have to give a photosensitivity warning for this mission too, because when they designed this nightclub, they were like, do you want bright lights or orange? And somebody just went yes, and put them all together. So there's a lot of flashing lights in this area, so I do apologize to anybody that is a problem for. It's not going to go on very long, but it is there, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody is aware of it, so that, you know, can avoid things. So now we are now in the nightclub that is managed by Mundus' girlfriend. Forget her name now. Lilith, that's what it is. And Dante has let himself in because he wasn't on the list for the party, and then he decided, nope, I am on the list. So he just kind of rolled up, and we're just going to be using our usual arsenal of buy-ins into Arbiter Smash, you know, the pulls into the axe. And there's a witch right there. Oh, we got the sword this time. Okay, very nice. Boom, boom. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't really see it a lot on this level.
Usually she'll bubble, or she'll send something under your feet to disrupt your buy-in. Seeing sword there, seeing sword from any siren is always ideal. There will be a Tyrant that spawns here. Recently, it's been Trinity Smash into one more Judgment, but I figured out that if you shoot one shotgun shot into his back, one Trinity Smash kills. I didn't even shoot the shotgun shot.
That was unfortunate, Chief. Then all these guys are going to be brought together. All right. And now, the whole club is going to shift. And we are going to be treated to more Noisia music.
Cat Jam.
Cat Jam indeed. I gotta say, this game's soundtrack, again, just definitely one of the best in the series.
I'm not here to play your games.
And now Lilith is going to make Dante play. This is a thing. Okay, I did not know that this was a thing.
Nah, it's slow to do that, but I just try to pass time while that button loads in.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I was like, am I seeing new tech?
Yeah, you can do it, but it is slower.
So now Lilith has Dante playing a game called Devil's Got Talent, which essentially just means that, you know, you have to, he has to just sort of, you know, fight these fights that she wants him to fight. There's nothing that actually is out of Dante's wheelhouse in this Devil's Got Talent thing. It's literally just fighting. She should have really had him play some DDR. That might have been a much bigger challenge for him. Yeah, dude, he's got no rhythm. Have you seen this haircut? Like,
I don't have time for this bullshit.
this is the real Cat Jam right here, too. Also, these enemies, it's better to kill them, to be honest, even though they're totally optional, because otherwise the camo will really mess with you, because it'll keep locking onto the enemy. Oh, that's how you do that setup. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like I'm over jumping it or whatever, but like my last few attempts, one's been living with full HP.
That's really weird.
Yeah. It's like the first time I've gotten that, and I didn't get it. Normally Eric's one-shots all these with S, but with the A damage buff, it doesn't really.
Ooh, that's okay. Yeah, so there's already collision loaded in there before the paths appear, so Anemone just knows where it is. This right here is also like fights that you can just kind of skip using the pull mechanics there, jumping off enemies, as well as using Angel Boost. And then we're going to be treated to another Dream Runner fight. And the Dream Runner, like the last one, is going to go down the same exact way. We're just going to do a good old Devil Trigger into Axe combo.
Okay, 99% of the time, I think it had something to do with that, I can't think of those enemy names. The baby rages.
I don't know.
You usually 99% of the time one-shot
that Dream Runner. Yeah, sometimes he'll die, and then other times he just doesn't. It's a mystery.
Get that skim bag, you dumbass.
And then these guys right here, the rages here. Anemone is just going to Devil Trigger up and use the Arbiter combo in order to take them out. Especially the blue rages that are here, because otherwise they're like invisible and stuff, and that's just no fun to deal with. So
I accidentally
yeah, I saw it activated a couple of times. Yeah, it happens. Alright, so now we have to fight Mundus's child, who has transformed into this weird mutation thing, and it's just grotesque. Also, we are out of the, I think we are kind of out of the photosensitive area, mostly, so should be good to go. So we have to expose the Offspring's eye, and then pull Lilith out of him. And because for whatever reason she's just hiding inside there and just like, no, protect me, you know, and it's like, goodness. And then we can just use Aerial Rave and Devil Trigger to take out the health really, really quickly. In Definitive Edition, this is another one of those fights that they changed, because you could actually one-cycle this whole fight, but on the original release. But in Definitive Edition, they force you to go through all three phases. So she's just going to get smacked up with more axe combos here. Also, the best mission in the game coming up right now. What everybody loves in Devil May Cry is the auto-scrolling, you know, cinematic sections. And there's like a 3-minute one here. There's really not a whole lot going on here, because Virgil and Cat are like escaping in the Virgil mobile, and you just kind of have to protect them as they sort of sail through, you know, like the real world. You're in limbo while they're in the real world, and you just kind of have to knock things out of their way. Truthfully, like to be honest with you, I don't really know what the purpose of this level is. I feel like it could have just definitely been a cutscene. Because there's absolutely no mandatory fights here at all. It is really just movement, platforming, watching the car, you know, sail through the streets. I guess cars sail now. And then it's like over in the next minute right here, you know. Like there's this right here, and then we watch another thing, Oh my goodness, that was unfortunate. That was
Uh,
almost unfortunate.
That would have been real unfortunate. Those angel pools are really, really clunky, dude.
Yeah.
It's showcased better in a later mission. Would we do that skip for the mission? So when it blinks, you're able to grab it. However, you have to delay the grab even though it blinks. I don't really know how to
Very
explain
weird.
it, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, so now we are on mission 16, and this is where Kat, Virgil, and Dante have finally concocted a plan to take down Mundus. And so a lot of this mission is going to be like Kat sort of narrating what the plan is, you know. It's very like, I don't know, it's very like heist movie-esque, the way that they have this mapped out, you know, in the cutscenes. And in some cases even in game. So Dante's going to show up at the, you know, at Mundus's doorstep here, and it's going to just knock these dudes into the ground, and that's going to spawn the witch earlier. Going to get the sword. Boom. Pull her out here.
Oh my god,
Ooh. Woo. That was close. Very nice.
So
Love to see it.
if the siren wakes up after you knock her down there, like she'll teleport up. I just got lucky.
Dante, make a break for the main entrance.
That's basically it.
And then here's another Dream Runner. Down.
Virgil
Forgot to mention, by the way, we're using these things called Devil Stars to refill our Devil Trigger gauge, sort of at will. This is one of those things that like I tend to look over in this game because again, it's not really something that ever changes. It is really just free Devil Trigger that we're going to get throughout the run. The rankings in this game don't really matter towards like the economy of the run. Compare this to previous Devil May Cries where you have to do things like no damage a level or get a certain rank on a level in order to determine, you know, what you're buying later in the game. But the way that this run is constructed and sort of the way that they constructed player reward in this game, it really makes it so that the run is pretty much just all execution. There is obviously like, you know, RNG in terms of like what you need to adapt to. Also, this is a really funny fight right here. If this guy will cooperate. We're just going to knock him into the elevator here. There's a kill zone on that elevator, so he just dies. But yeah, like this run really doesn't have an economy, so to speak, of. Really the economy type stuff is all fixed. You're always going to get pretty much the same amount of red orbs all the time. You're going to get roughly the same amount of white orbs all the time. And so you'll pretty much always have the tools that you need. So it is a really easy game to pick up in terms of if you want to start running like a Devil May Cry game. And maybe some of the other ones are a little bit intimidating because of like the way that you have to S-rank things in those, or you know, like DmC1, some people can find it kind of clunky. This game feels really smooth, and I can't recommend it enough in terms of getting into the series for speedrunning. Of course, I'm going to probably say that about like all of them, but you know, I'm a little biased.
Just a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
So, when I was starting off running the DmC, oh my god, I mean, this camera.
This camera's great, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Never had a problem with a camera in a DmC game.
So, when I first started off learning the DmC series, Cosmic recommended this to me. And like he said, super easy game. While that is very true, like, you could pick up this run in less than 6 hours.
Yeah, I don't know about all of that, but...
Oh, no, definitely. But...
That's a high bar.
But to be able to adapt to certain situations, what the enemy AI is giving you, how Trinity Smash will knock them away if they're not dead, what's the best way to clear a room if so-and-so happens. that'll come over time. So they're small learning curve, but still not.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms, like I said, in terms of picking it up, it's pretty easy. But you know, like with any good speed game, the more knowledge and experience you put into a game, the more fun it'll be, and you'll see a lot of the nuances sort of come forward. Because I mean, Anemone makes this look easy, but there are definitely some times where I would be like, I don't know what to do here. And then like people like him and JJ Toro, who just have a ton of time in the game, will just be able to adapt like just right there in the moment and just not even have to think about it.
So that Virgil cutscene that I just started,
She was right.
if you press any button at all during that black screen, the game will crash. But not a hard crash, you just gotta restart from checkpoint. Messed up this strat. Oh.
And then this is Dracovac, who is supposed to be like the ultimate dream runner, sort of blah 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 thing. And, you know, he did. He's dead now. The fight that they have worked up the entire like they've tried to work the entire game towards like establishing this guy as your rival or whatever. It's like this formidable adversary. Nope, he's just gone. He's just toast. All right, so Furnace of Souls. This mission here, there's a lot that gets skipped. I don't think that there's any mandatory fights in this mission either. Maybe like one technically, because when Anemone pops into this first fight here, there's gonna be a ceiling that's made. The way this level works is that every so often fire will come up, and you have to. Oh, that was really clean. You have to sort of traverse through and you know, mind the fire and navigate around the fights like this. But we just went up to a later platform there by taking out the ceiling on the fight while pulling ourselves up really, really high with the enemy there using the demon pool and enemy step. And now we're just at this like way further part of the level. And now we're actually traversing around the outside of the last fight. That was the first green orb you got this whole time. Jeez.
Yeah, the game only gives you green orbs from it. Oh no.
Oh no.
It's fine.
Oh no.
It's fine. Just gonna have to
Oh,
fix
phew.
this earlier.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. I thought you were gonna end up like back and having to do the last part of the skip, but that's cool.
Let's pretend that just never happened.
All right, so that is Furnace of Souls. It is all over. Very nice. That is also the last skip of the game. From here on out, it is just combat, basically. Well, there's a puzzle first. I lied. This puzzle solution is always fixed. I never remember it, so I always put it in my splits. I think it's like, what, West 3, North 1, South 2, East 2, and then South 3 or something.
Yep, that's exactly it. You remember.
Oh, look at me go. Oh, boy. Finally. All it took was like 20, 30 attempts, you know?
Yeah, that's right. One in each tunnel.
I swear, this game has... Sometimes you'll feel big brain, but other times your brain just wants to implode. Like, there are many moments during this run where I almost felt it.
So now, the door there is totally blocked off by these locking mechanisms that we have to activate. Unfortunately, on the original release of this game, well, I should preface this with, unfortunately for us, You know, the skip that used to exist on the original release of this game no longer works anymore. Because what you'd be able to do is skip over a trigger that activates the cutscene of the door locking. So it would be locked, you know, or it would be unlocked the whole time, and then you could solve the puzzle after skipping over the cutscene trigger, and then the mission would just end. And, you know, it'd just be like a 20-second mission as a result. Unfortunately, they added fights into the middle of the arena. These did not exist before. You only had 4 fights when you actually went to bring these pedestals up, you know, to activate these lights or these spinning orby things. But you only had 4 fights. Now you have 8. And for whatever reason, adding those fights into the middle messed with the way that the game reads how the door is unlocked. So in some manner, we think that the last middle fight that we're going to do, the death of the Dream Runners that are in that fight are linked to the door unlocking now. So this game could have been like really, this version of the game could have been really fast if not for that. That probably would have saved, like, I don't know, 4 minutes.
Yeah, it definitely would have made it sub 1 then.
Good. Rebooting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Shall I line it up?
Absolutely.
Get the other generators online.
There is a certain way you want to do these rooms. I have it in my notes, but I don't have my notes pulled up. I use one of the rooms to rebuild my Devil Trigger. So that way I can save a DT star from one of the later central fights. Most of the time, about that many don't want to fall off. Aerial buy-in also has a cap on how many things it can pull in at once. That is. Alright.
That's unfortunate. Just do the stomp here, and that was a weird camera angle. Okay, cool.
Another in the bag. Any problems?
I wish to one day have a Mission 18 skip.
Maybe one day. It's like right there, man. We already know how to skip over the trigger again. We just have to figure out the rest of it. There's a funny thing here too, where if you stand too close to some of the spinning glyphs, Dante can just get knocked off the edge during those little in-game cutscenes. Buddy, he just gets kind of bonked. Excuse me.
I think Eric's has the coolest finishers
Okay.
when you kill the last enemy of a room, just because the flame that follows after.
Oh yeah, that's pretty awesome. Pretty dope. This is the last central fight here, right?
I think I have. Oh, it is. Wow.
Yeah. Okay, that was fast. Yeah. Cool. Very nice. Excellent. So then here's these Dream Runners, and then once they die, boom, done. Very cool. And now we have opened the door to fight Mundus, the Demon King himself, who, for whatever reason, looks like the Kingpin from Daredevil. And his final form, he has decided to just become a giant trash demon. Or rubble or something like that. Either way, it's not a very flattering image. It's just kind of this swirling vortex of just goop. And Dante plus Virgil are gonna face him down.
This is probably my favorite mission for movement, just because of the double door clear. I don't know why, but it's my favorite.
Why was
part
his
of
body
this
in
whole
there?
thing.
Mundus
That
is
and
merged
because of
with
the
A little
physical
bit.
body. That's why he's protected.
There are some really weird things that can happen here sometimes if you don't enter the area properly, where Virgil will just slow walk to every door and cost you a lot of time. But if you enter the area, I think it's like you don't glide into the cutscene trigger. Then he's fine. All right, so we're gonna get Devil Trigger here, and we're gonna take out these arms here with Arbiter or the axe. Just avoid the attacks. Very nice. And then Demon Pull again, and we've got to head over to... Are you gonna... I don't think you cancel them, do you? Okay, you do.
Yeah.
So I always just go over the other side. Okay, that's fine. Bam.
There is an out of bounds that can happen there. You can go...
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah, and you will have to restart the level.
Ooh.
Yeah, you can't even restart from checkpoint.
So that's Mundus. He just got clobbered by some Devil Trigger axe there, like a lot of enemies in the game. And, you would think that would be it, right? But no, because it's Devil May Cry. It wouldn't be complete without a nice little family feud. So, we gotta fight our brother Virgil now, who has decided just out of nowhere, apropos of nothing, that he wants to rule the demons in place of Mundus. And Dante's like, nah, dude, that's not really cool, so I'm going to have to lay down the law here. And time will be coming up in probably about like 45 seconds or so. So I'm going to just let Anemone take it away, and you can call for time when you need it, bud.
Well.
Also, this song rocks, too. I think it's called Empty.
We'll have to pop TP, even with it. I was gonna get an extra phase if I didn't.
Okay, fair enough. Fair.
Still might get it. No, I'm good. And that's time.
Very nice. So that was DmC Devil May Cry Definitive Edition. New game Dante, any percent. Ooh.
A sub 120 fog.
Very nice. Good job, dude.
Yeah, that was a fun run. So real quick, shout out to JJ6120. He's helped me get better at all the skips in this game. He's helped me push myself. Shout out to the DmC community, to Cosmic coming in here and commentating. Let me try my best at showing off an awesome run for Midwest Speed Fest, and that's it for me.
Again, my name is D Cosmic, and if you want to find Anemone, by the way, on Twitch he is AnemoneV2. If you want to watch more of this game, he also does runs of some really long RPGs too, if you're into that. If you want to find me on Twitch, it's DE Cosmic. So twitch.tv/DE Cosmic, and on YouTube I am DE Cosmic Runs. Want to thank Midwest Speedfest for having us very much, for accepting the game, and it was a good time. So I hope everybody has a wonderful